Challenge of a reset. This opinion discusses Pakistan's shifting ties with the U.S. amid changing global politics. President Donald Trump's foreign policy actions and pronouncements have created geopolitical upheaval at an already unsettled time in the world. Trump's foreign policy actions and pronouncements are high-impact decisions that have disrupted global politics. Geopolitical upheaval is a metaphor for major international instability. This sentence states that Trump's policies have worsened global uncertainty. It has sent countries scrambling to find ways to navigate the new global terrain and figure out how to engage with Washington under Trump's mercurial management. Scrambling is a vivid term indicating urgent, disorderly efforts. Navigate means to find a way through. Mercurial management describes Trump's unpredictable leadership. This sentence means nations are rushing to adjust to a new global order under Trump. He has upended U.S. foreign policy on several fronts, including the Middle East and Ukraine, jettisoned Western allies, all but abandoned the transatlantic alliance and delivered more blows to multilateralism. Upended is a strong term meaning completely overturned. Jettisoned means discarded. All but abandoned is an idiom implying nearly left behind. Delivered more blows uses hyperbole to stress damage. This sentence states that Trump has drastically altered U.S. policies and alliances. His imposition of tariffs on friends and competitors alike has raised the specter of a global trade war. Imposition of tariffs is jargon for adding taxes on imports. Specter is a metaphor for a looming threat. Global trade war means widespread economic conflict. This sentence means Trump's tariffs risk sparking a worldwide trade conflict. Trump's America First unilateralist approach is further fragmenting the global order and ushering in a disruptive and volatile phase in international affairs. America First is a slogan that prioritizes U.S. interests. Unilateralist means acting alone. Fragmenting is a metaphor for breaking apart. Ushering in is an idiom meaning bringing about. This sentence means his policies are making the global system more unstable. This is the context in which Islamabad is weighing where it will figure with Trump's America. Where it will figure means what role it will play. This sentence states that Pakistan is considering its position in Trump's new U.S. Both the government and opposition have been trying, so far unsuccessfully, to elicit the new administration's attention. Elicit is a formal word meaning to draw out. This sentence means all political parties in Pakistan have tried but failed to get noticed by the U.S. In fact, relations between the U.S. and Pakistan have been at an inflection point since the American withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021. Inflection point is jargon for a critical turning moment. This sentence states that U.S.-Pakistan relations have been changing sharply since 2021. For over 2 decades, the war in Afghanistan provided the principal basis for engagement between the U.S. and Pakistan, even as it became a source of mutual mistrust and disenchantment. Principal basis for engagement means the main reason to work together. This sentence means that despite cooperation during the Afghanistan war, it also bred mistrust between the two countries. After that ended, Pakistan's diminished geopolitical importance for Washington drove relations to a low point. Diminished geopolitical importance means Pakistan became less strategically valuable. This sentence states that after the war, U.S.-Pakistan ties weakened significantly. On the other hand, Pakistan's long-standing strategic ties with China continued to intensify. Long-standing strategic ties means deep, historic alliances. This sentence means Pakistan grew closer to China as its importance to the U.S. fell. Increasingly, America was seen as a self-absorbed and inconsistent partner, as well as a reluctant regional player. Self-absorbed and inconsistent are descriptive adjectives implying unreliability. Reluctant regional player means unwilling to engage regionally. This sentence states that the U.S. was perceived as unreliable and disengaged. China was perceived as having the will, money, and growing global clout needed for a more constructive and enduring relationship that met both Pakistan's defense and economic interests. Global clout is jargon for international influence. This sentence means China was seen as a stronger and more stable partner for Pakistan. Benign disengagement between Pakistan and the U.S. may be the best option for now. Benign disengagement is an idiomatic expression meaning a peaceful, low-profile separation. This sentence states that for the time being, stepping back from U.S. ties might be wise. Nevertheless, Pakistan sought a reset in ties with the U.S. Reset means to reestablish or renew relations. This sentence states that Pakistan tried to improve its relationship with the U.S. But this proved elusive. Elusive means hard to achieve. This sentence means Pakistan's efforts were unsuccessful. President Joe Biden's tenure saw little high-level engagement, and he showed no interest in interacting with Pakistan's leaders. High-level engagement means meetings between top officials. This sentence states that under Biden, there was minimal interaction with Pakistan. The low point in relations was also reflected in the fact that the U.S. Secretary of State never once visited Pakistan during the Biden years. This sentence states that no visit from the U.S. top diplomat further underscored poor relations. Military-to-military contacts, however, continued, as did CT cooperation. CT cooperation means counterterrorism collaboration. This sentence states that despite political issues, security cooperation remained. The Biden administration's parting shot was to impose sanctions on several Pakistani entities aiding its missile program. Parting shot is an idiom meaning a final remark or action. Sanctions are penalties. This sentence means Biden's last act was to penalize Pakistan for its missile activities. Although this had little impact, the tough statement accompanying the move, promptly denounced by Islamabad, did sour ties. Tough statement implies a harsh public comment. Sour ties is an idiom meaning worsen relationships. This sentence states that even if the sanctions were minor, the criticism worsened relations. In Trump's first term, relations got off to a turbulent start when he accused Pakistan of lies and deceit, claiming it was not helpful in Afghanistan despite receiving billions of dollars in U.S. aid. Turbulent start means a rocky beginning. Lies and deceit are strong accusations. This sentence means that Trump began his presidency with harsh criticism of Pakistan, even after providing aid. He went on to suspend security assistance, including coalition support funds. Suspend means temporarily stop. This sentence states that Trump cut off security aid and coalition funds to Pakistan. But re-engagement got underway when Trump decided on exiting Afghanistan and sought Pakistan's help for talks with the Taliban to strike a deal at Doha. Re-engagement means renewed cooperation. Strike a deal is an idiom meaning negotiate an agreement. This sentence means that when Trump left Afghanistan, he reached out to Pakistan for help in negotiating with the Taliban. Apart from that, and the evident geniality between Trump and former Prime Minister Imran Khan, the bilateral relationship remained undefined and shorn of substance. Geniality means friendliness. Undefined and shorn of substance means lacking clear purpose and depth. This sentence means that aside from personal warmth, U.S.-Pakistan ties lacked real substance. This posed the challenge then, as it does today, of resetting ties in a fundamentally changed global and regional environment. This sentence means that rebuilding relations is difficult in today's changed global context. The history of the roller coaster relationship, with cyclical swings between intense engagement and deep estrangement, shows that positive transformations in ties were always driven by geopolitical storms or superpower dynamics extraneous to the bilateral relationship. Roller coaster relationship is a metaphor for ups and downs. Cyclical swings means repeated changes. Geopolitical storms is a metaphor for international crises. This sentence means that improvements in ties have always been due to external global forces. America's shifting geopolitical concerns that shaped its regional priorities also defined relations with Pakistan. Shifting means changing. This sentence means that as the U.S. changed its global focus, its relationship with Pakistan also changed. They drove bilateral ties into different phases with security issues determining the relationship. This sentence means that U.S.-Pakistan relations have moved through phases, mainly driven by security concerns. In the Cold War, when the U.S. aim was to contain communism, Pakistan became America's most allied ally. Contain communism is jargon, meaning to stop the spread of communism. Most allied ally is an idiom indicating Pakistan was a key partner. This sentence means that during the Cold War, Pakistan was very important to the U.S. Then after 1979, there was a mutual interest to roll back the Russian invasion of Afghanistan. Mutual interest means a shared goal. Rollback is an idiom meaning to push back. This sentence means both nations work together to counter the Soviet presence in Afghanistan. The third post-9/11 phase involved defeating al-Qaeda in the War on Terror. This ended with the U.S. pullout from Afghanistan. Post-9/11 phase means the period after September 11, 2001. War on Terror is jargon for the global campaign against terrorism. This sentence means that after fighting terrorism, the U.S. eventually left Afghanistan. Despite their close cooperation in these three phases, there was always an elephant in the room. Elephant in the room is an idiom meaning an obvious issue that is ignored. This sentence means that a major underlying problem persisted despite cooperation. In the first, it was India. The U.S. priority was to defeat communism, but for Pakistan, ties with Washington were part of its external balancing strategy of seeking extra-regional support to address its security dilemma given the vast power asymmetry with a hostile India. External balancing strategy is jargon, meaning using alliances to counter a threat. Vast power asymmetry means a large difference in power. This sentence means that during the Cold War, Pakistan's alliance with the U.S. was also meant to counter India's strength. In the second phase, the elephant in the room was Pakistan's nuclear program, even as the two collaborated in the joint struggle against the Soviet occupation of Afghanistan. Nuclear program is jargon referring to developing nuclear weapons. This sentence means that despite cooperation against the Soviets, the U.S. was concerned about Pakistan's nuclear ambitions. This divergence was to surface after the Russian defeat, when the U.S. imposed wide-ranging sanctions on Islamabad on the nuclear issue, and Pakistan became America's most sanctioned friend. Wide-ranging sanctions means extensive penalties. Most sanctioned friend is an ironic phrase, meaning Pakistan was punished despite being an ally. This sentence means that after the Soviet defeat, disagreements over nuclear policy led the U.S. to heavily sanction Pakistan. In the most recent phase, Pakistan's communication channels with the Taliban produced a disconnect with the U.S. Communication channels refers to the ways Pakistan interacts with the Taliban. Disconnect means a breakdown in understanding. This sentence means that Pakistan's talks with the Taliban strained its relationship with the U.S. Islamabad believed that one day everyone would have to deal with them, but Washington saw this as evidence of Pakistan's double game. Double game is an idiom, meaning playing two sides. This sentence means that while Pakistan thought the Taliban would eventually be unavoidable, the U.S. viewed this as dishonesty by Pakistan. It is against this backdrop that Islamabad seeks to reconfigure ties with the U.S. based on Pakistan's intrinsic importance, and not as a subset of America's other concerns. Intrinsic importance means inherent value. This sentence means Pakistan wants its relationship with the U.S. to be based on its own merits, not just on U.S. global interests. But a reset faces many challenges. This sentence means rebuilding ties is difficult. For a start, Pakistan does not figure in the Trump administration's recast priorities. Does not figure means is not included. This sentence means that under Trump, Pakistan is not a key priority. There are other constraining factors. Constraining factors are limitations. This sentence means additional obstacles affect the relationship. America's top strategic priority is to contain China. Contain China is jargon meaning to limit China's power. This sentence means that the U.S. now focuses mainly on countering China. Although Pakistan says it wants to balance relations between the U.S. and China, it sees its strategic future to lie with China and will not be part of any anti-China coalition. Balance relations means maintaining good ties with both. This sentence means that Pakistan prefers a closer future with China and won't join any alliance against it. This limits the space for Pakistan-U.S. relations. This sentence means Pakistan's ties with the U.S. are restricted by its closeness to China. So does America's growing strategic and economic relationship with India, its partner of choice in the region in its strategy to project India as a counterweight to China. Partner of choice is an idiom, meaning the preferred ally. Counterweight means a balancing force. This sentence means the U.S. now favors India to balance China, further limiting its relationship with Pakistan. Finding space between these two strategic realities is a challenge for the Pakistan-US relationship. This sentence means it is difficult for Pakistan to navigate its ties with both the US and China/India. Another limiting factor is Pakistan's economic weakness, which acts as a major impediment for meaningful relations. Impediment means obstacle. This sentence means Pakistan's weak economy also hinders strong relations with the US. Important as future relations with the US are, perhaps until Pakistan is able to empower itself economically and fix its domestic problems, a phase of benign disengagement between the two countries is preferable. Empower itself economically means strengthen its economy. Benign disengagement is an idiom meaning a peaceful separation. This sentence means that until Pakistan improves its economy, a low-key relationship with the US might be best. Keeping its head down for now with an administration that only wants to play by its own rules and whose proclivity for capricious conduct can create unnecessary problems is an option worth considering by Pakistan. Keeping its head down is an idiom, meaning staying low profile. Proclivity means tendency. Capricious means unpredictable. This sentence means that Pakistan might do better by avoiding confrontation with a self-centered US administration. This is not an argument to put diplomacy on hold, but to consider whether overeagerness for engagement with a preoccupied and transactional Washington without having much to offer or gain is in Pakistan's interest. Transactional means deal-focused. This sentence means Pakistan should think twice about engaging with a US that is busy and only interested in deals, especially if Pakistan has little to offer. Showing strategic patience and waiting it out may serve the country better. This sentence means that being patient in its foreign policy could benefit Pakistan. The writer is a former ambassador to the US, UK, and UN, published in Dawn, March 3, 2025.